Unknown Commanders, but Make Them Busted Part 1. The first card I'm going to talk about in the series is actually one of my own commanders that I use, Garred Mirror of the Wilds. When I first got into Commander, I always wanted to build a token deck, but I could just never find a commander that nobody was using, and I didn't want to build it the same way that every other person builds a token deck. And then all of a sudden, Outlaws of Thunder Junction comes out, and here comes Garred Mirror of the Wilds. He doesn't have any crazy abilities or any broken abilities, but as long as he's on the battlefield, then making tokens is too easy. And also, all it takes is him, one of these two cards, Midnight Guard or Sunstrike Legionnaire, and one token to enter during your turn or any turn, and you're infinite comboing off. This is such an easy deck to make CEDH because everything can cost such low mana costs, and it can get out of hand so fast. One of my favorite cards to play in this deck that makes this commander so broken is a Gate Instigator. If you have enough non-token creatures out and you offspring a Gate Instigator, then you can just make more and more tokens with your other non-token creatures. And next thing you know, you have 10 Gate Instigators. You play one creature or create one token, and you're dealing 10 damage to each opponent. Another one of my favorite cards to play in this deck, which is also nobody ever plays it, is Biowaste Blob. As long as you control your commander, at the beginning of your upkeep, you create a copy of Biowaste Blob. Well, guess what? I'm tapping Biowaste Blob and my commander to make more copies of Biowaste Blob. Now I got all these oozes that are just ginormous. This commander also gets around the effect that says sacrifice at the end of turn if you make another copy of that creature. For example, Molten Duplication. This allows you to create a token copy of a creature, but it tells you that you have to sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. Normally this is bad. However, if I have a couple non-token creatures out, I can tap them to create other tokens of this creature that don't need to be sacrificed. However, there are cards like Electro Duplicate that make the token itself say that it must be sacrificed at the beginning of the next end step. Cards like this don't work because it's already imprinted on the card. If you make more copies of that creature, they're all going to say it. So you can only really use copy spells that don't imprint that you need to sacrifice it on that creature. Jiki, my boy. Let me know in the comments, have you ever seen somebody use Garred Mirror of the Wilds as a token commander or just as a commander in general? If you like this series and you want to see me keep doing more series like these with unknown commanders and making them busted, let me know in the comments and follow the Nerd Corner.